The retirement crime, why your bank account is a death trap.
If you woke up tomorrow morning with $5 million in your bank account, but a doctor told you that you only had 5 years of healthy movement left to use it, would you still feel like you'd won the game? This is the heavy question many are asking themselves at kitchen tables across the country in 2026. Why does it feel like the goalposts for a safe retirement didn't just move, but were taken off the field entirely? We spent 40 years being told that if we just hit a certain number, we'd be free. But now, people are reaching that number and finding themselves more paralyzed than ever. There's a man I've been thinking about lately. Let's call him Arthur. Arthur is 72, and by every 20th century metric, he is a massive success. He followed the safe rules to the letter. He saved his 20%, he invested in the index funds, and he watched his pile grow. But here's the mystery. Arthur is currently sitting in a beautiful home he owns outright, with a brokerage account that is actually larger than it was the day he retired. Yet he is terrified to buy a new pair of walking shoes. He feels like he is starving in a mansion. Why would a man with more than enough be living as if he has nothing? We're going to look at what happened to Arthur Rest's mind and yours at the end of this talk. Have you noticed how the old 4% rule feels like a relic from a different century? Back in 1994, the idea was simple. You could take out 4% of your savings every year, adjust it for inflation, and your money would almost certainly outlive you. It was the ultimate safe rule. But by 2026, the world looks different. We are dealing with the lingering echoes of a low interest rate era and the reality that safe returns just aren't what they used to be. Some researchers are now suggesting that if we want to be truly safe, that rule might need to be a 3% rule or even less. But is the problem really the math, or is it the human condition? Perhaps we should ask why we are so obsessed with the pile of money rather than the flow of life. We've been conditioned to believe that wealth is the number on the screen, but maybe we are starting to realize that true wealth is actually what you don. It's the flexibility and the control over your time. If you have $10 million but no control over your day, are you actually wealthy, or are you just a high-priced prisoner? What if the rules changed because our biology didn't keep up with our bank accounts? One of the most unsettling shifts we have seen in 2026 is the growing understanding of savings trauma. For 40 years, you train your brain to be money vigilant, to watch every penny, to save, to sacrifice. Then, one day, you're told to flip a switch and start spending. But the brain doesn't have a flip for a 40-year habit. This is the diagnosis of our current struggle. We are a society that knows how to accumulate, but we have absolutely no idea how to decumulate. We suffer from loss aversion, the psychological reality that losing $1 hurts twice as much as gaining $1 feels good. So, even when the spreadsheets say we're safe, our limbic system is screaming that we're in danger. Could it be that the safe rules of the past ignored the most dangerous risk of all? The risk is not just outliving your money. It is the longevity risk of outliving your purpose. When we stop working, we often experience an existential rupture. We aren't just retiring from a job. We are losing an identity. And if you don't have a new identity ready, no amount of money will make you feel secure. Why do you think we find it so much easier to plan for our death than to plan for our joy? Statistics show that many of us avoid even basic estate planning because we have thanatophobia, a deep-seated fear of our own mortality. But the real tragedy in 2026 isn't just dying without a will. It's dying with a great wealth transfer of $90 trillion that represents trillions of dollars in unlived experiences. Bill Perkins, a guy who really shook things up with his die with zero philosophy, suggests that we're essentially working for free when we die with a massive surplus. He asks us to consider, if you spend your life energy earning money that you never use, haven't you essentially wasted that portion of your life? It's a provocative thought. What if we shifted our focus from accumulating memories of money to using money to accumulate memories? So, what are we supposed to do now that the old rules feel broken? The answer might lie in a word that's becoming more popular than retirement: rewirement. Instead of looking for a static rule like 4%, maybe we should be looking for success rate optimizers and dynamic plans that adjust as the world changes. Here is a simple way to look at the fix. Based on what the research is telling us in 2026, focus on protected income for the essentials. There is a massive psychological relief that comes from knowing your check is in the mail. Whether it's Social Security, a pension, or an annuity, having your basic needs, food, housing, healthcare, covered by a guaranteed flow changes how your brain perceives risk. It gives you a license to spend the rest of your money on things that actually bring you joy, the purpose formula. Research shows that knowing your purpose is worth up to 7 extra years of life expectancy. The formula is simple. Your gifts plus your passions plus your values equals your purpose. If you don't have a reason to get out of bed that has nothing to do with money, you will never feel safe enough to enjoy your wealth. Time bucketing? Instead of thinking of retirement as one big 30-year block, what if you divided it into 5 to 10-year intervals? Your ability to hike the Swiss Alps at 65 is very different from your ability to do it at 85. We can choose to spend our money on the go-go years while we still have the health to enjoy them. Embrace reasonable over rational. A rational spreadsheet might tell you to keep all your money in the stock market for maximum returns. But if that keeps you awake at night, it's not reasonable for a human being. The best strategy is the one that lets you sleep and keeps you consistent. A margin of safety for the brain. As we age, our executive functions, the parts of our brain that make good financial decisions, can start to decline. A powerful fix is to simplify your financial life before you need to. Perhaps you could automate your bills or consolidate your accounts while your mind is at its sharpest. Why do you think we are so afraid of being wrong about our money, but so comfortable being wrong about our happiness? We focus on the math because math is certain, but life is messy and subjective. We have to be willing to respect the mess. Now, let's go back to Arthur. Remember the mystery of why he couldn't buy new shoes despite having millions? The answer wasn't in his bank account. It was in his money script. Arthur grew up in a household where money was always tight, and he internalized the belief that money is for emergencies only. He spent his whole life building a safety net, but he forgot that the purpose of a net is to catch you so you can climb again. Arthur's safety became his prison because he was still playing a game that ended 10 years ago. He was still in accumulation mode when his life required him to be in experience mode. He didn't need a better financial advisor. He needed to forgive himself for having enough. Here is the unsettling truth about human character and wealth that 2026 is forcing us to face. Most people will spend the first half of their lives sacrificing their health to gain wealth, and then spend the second half of their lives sacrificing their wealth to try and regain their health, only to realize they never actually learned how to live in either half. We are newbies at this version of the world where we live 30 years past our working days. We think we're fighting over percentages and inflation rates, but the real battle is between our ego and our freedom. Perhaps the most safe thing you can do right now isn't to find a new rule, but to find a new why. Because in the end, wealth isn't the number of years you can afford to live. It's the number of days you can afford to be truly yourself. What are you waiting for to start being that person? This is for philosophical and educational purposes only, not financial advice. The characters portrayed are composite sketches used to illustrate real-world financial data and psychological principles.